Nawaz, giving us some more perspective to this. Nikhil Naz, here's MS Dhoni, who's, according to you, been selfless and vacated that spot of captain and handed the baton to Ravindra Jadeja. As much as we see Ravindra Jadeja an all-rounder, he's himself a cricketer par excellence. Will he match to the captaincy acumen that Dhoni holds and how he's managed to win that team multiple times in the IPL? Do you think there is any match at all?
Well, you can't compare anyone to MS Dhoni, let alone a Ravindra Jadeja, who hasn't really captained at the top level or the international level. In fact, you could arguably say that he's one of the greatest captains to have played the game, not just from India, but globally. So on that front, yes, I mean, it's going to be a big hole that he's going to leave behind. However, having said that, I think Ravindra Jadeja was the captain in waiting. As I'd mentioned earlier, we knew about this and we'd been reporting extensively, speaking to a lot of folks in the Chennai Super Kings camp, that MS Dhoni had sort of let the management at Chennai Super Kings know that he may not continue or may not finish the season as captain. However, at that time it was widely speculated that he may start off as captain and then slowly allow Ravindra Jadeja to take on the reins of the team as the season progresses. That he's decided to do it even before the season starts has come as a surprise, and I can see the reasons why that might have been the case. As I mentioned earlier, a few days ago, I mean, leading up to the IPL, we've been very busy analyzing every team, doing their SWOT analysis, looking at the ideal playing 11. And when we actually sat down, a group of us, that cover cricket, we sat down to pick the 11 for Chennai Super Kings. The trouble that we were finding was where to fit MS Dhoni, the batsman. Now, of course, he walks into the team as wicketkeeper, but as you know, IPL requires all-rounders. So you have to play a dual role to be part of that side. Unless you're a top-order batsman, which MS Dhoni isn't at the moment, he tends to bat in the middle order, and if you were trying to fit him in that 11, you were tending to push him even lower down the order to number 7, number 8. Now, batting at number 7 or number 8, you required big hitting skills right from the word go. For someone like MS Dhoni, who does not play international cricket now anymore, it becomes very tough to get into the groove or get into your top form right from the word go. And maybe these are the reasons that have gone behind. Just to give an idea to the folks that are joining us, these could be the actual cricketing reasons that may have gone behind MS Dhoni deciding to quit his captaincy. Now, you talk about Ravindra Jadeja, very, very interesting. I think quite often we've spoken about how Ravindra Jadeja has always been underrated, even in the Indian team. Recently, if you remember, when Virat Kohli left the captaincy, there were a lot of names doing the round as to who should be captain, whether KL Rahul is that guy in waiting, or is it time for Rishabh Pant to take over after Rohit Sharma? Who is the next captain? And no one really spoke about Ravindra Jadeja. And I think that's a folly that sometimes we tend to do. We tend to look at just batsmen to be captain. But if you are looking at an all-round player in Indian cricket at the moment, someone who can play all three formats and is a must-have in all three formats of the team, you could look at someone like a Rohit Sharma, you could look at someone like a Virat Kohli, and then you can look at someone like Ravindra Jadeja. So I think he has all the capabilities and the merits that are required to be captain even of the Indian team. It's a pity that he's not looked at that way. However, having said that, CSK, we know, tend to groom their own players that have been there for very, very long. You know, they have a legacy they like to carry forward. They have an ideology that they follow in terms of how they want to play their cricket, and all of that goes into then deciding who should be the next captain. And just as MS Dhoni was Mr. CSK, Suresh Raina was someone that was associated with the team. I think the third name that's synonymous with CSK is Ravindra Jadeja, and so in that case, it comes as no surprise that Ravindra Jadeja has now been selected to be captain. What I think will be very interesting, and I think we really need to focus on, is whether MS Dhoni will now be part of the playing 11. We know he's a selfish character. We know that he will let go of his captaincy as he did in Australia for the benefit of the team. That in that case, it was the Indian team. He allowed Virat Kohli to be captain. Now he's obviously taken the interest of the CSK team in mind and decided that he shouldn't be captain. And I think he's only done that because he sees in certain situations, in certain games, he may not be part of the playing 11. He may not merit a place in the playing 11. And I think the first one to have realized that would have been MS Dhoni, and that's why he's decided to give captaincy to someone that will be part of every playing 11 that CSK participate in this season of the IPL. So it'll be interesting to see his let go of captaincy, whether he'll play all games or not for CSK.
Right, Nikhil, when it comes to the skills of a captain, it's not necessary they've got to be an ace player. It's more about strategy and placements, etc., which MS Dhoni mastered over the years as the Indian team captain as well. So that kind of acumen when it comes to strategizing, placing, do you think Ravindra Jadeja will be fully backed and guided by MS Dhoni? Is he willing to be a guide and lead Ravindra Jadeja on?
Well, absolutely. I mean, if you've spoken to Ravindra Jadeja, as I have in the past as well, he has always regarded MS Dhoni, much before now, he's always regarded MS Dhoni as one of his mentors. So, and not just Ravindra Jadeja, in fact, the entire generation that played under MS Dhoni for the longest time, and Ravindra Jadeja included in that, all consider him a mentor, all consider him as that benchmark of captaincy. So I'm sure having played under him, both for the Indian team and then CSK, Ravindra Jadeja would have picked up a lot of tips as to how to captain a side. Secondly, I know that Ravindra Jadeja is a street-smart cricketer. He's a great batsman, a bowler and a fielder. And I think because he has a dual role in the team, that of a batsman as well as a bowler, he may be able to think from both sides. So it'll be a good test to see how he is tactically as a captain. The other thing is, you mustn't forget that each franchise has a sort of a culture which is part of the team. So captains may come and change and they may influence that culture slightly. However, the distinct character of every team remains. And I think Chennai has that. Even if MS Dhoni has decided to step down, he is going to be part of that dressing room, as we know. Now as a player, maybe going forward, what we're getting to here, he may even be part of that dressing room in the form of a mentor or a coach or whichever role that he sees best for him. So since MSD is going to be there, that culture continues. Just those on and off field decisions, that too nowadays we know with so much of communication happening between the dugout and the team, I'm sure there will be an influence of MS Dhoni. And as time passes, maybe a few games passes, Ravindra Jadeja might have his own style which may suit this CSK team. And for all you know, I know they are defending champions, but sometimes you need a change of mindset because, change is the only thing that's constant. And we know if there's something that changes at a rapid pace in cricket, it is T20 cricket. So maybe it was time to look at a new captain, fresher ideas, and maybe Ravindra Jadeja brings that.
It almost triggers discussion on how many captains are probably fit today to lead their teams. Chennai Super Kings has been a winning team, and they're clearly wanting to, take that lead this time as well. IPL 2022, all eyes on it. Just days ahead of the game to begin, and you have a big surprise that sprung. MS Dhoni has stepped down. This comes as a real heartbreak, Nikhil, undoubtedly, because Chennai Super Kings, under his leadership, managed to win time and again. And for those who love MS Dhoni, will not be seeing him as a captain, but will see him play in the team, certainly. But what will they really be missing this time without Dhoni as captain?
Well, MS Dhoni, as I said, is not just Mr. CSK or Thala, as he is very popularly known in Chennai. MS Dhoni, if you'd ask me, would be Mr. IPL. I think if you had to think of one name that, is synonymous with IPL cricket, it has to be MS Dhoni. Also because his international cricket and the heights that he reached in international cricket coincided with the coming of the IPL. Around that time, he took over the reins of the Indian team, remember, at the 2007 T20 World Cup. So when he was at the top of his game, at the top of his mark in terms of captaincy as a batsman, IPL was flourishing. It started flourishing in India, and because that coincided, I think MS Dhoni became synonymous with IPL, synonymous with the Chennai Super Kings. What are you going to miss? I think you're going to miss the shrewd captaincy of MS Dhoni. He always had a trick up his sleeve. We pride ourselves as cricket analysts, people who follow game day in and day out, and more often than not, we can now predict what a captain is doing. But in MS Dhoni's case, he would surprise even the staunchest supporters of the game, because he would always think out of the box. Whatever you expected a captain to do under normal circumstances, MS Dhoni would have a completely different view on that. He played cricket his own way. I mean, just to give you a few examples, he went in with a much senior team. T20 cricket was always considered a young man's game. And what did MS Dhoni do? He packed his side with a lot of experienced guys, a lot of them over on the wrong side of 30s, an age where you think they cannot continue playing cricket. He did all of that. He was criticized for that. But what did he do? He went ahead and won titles with such teams. So MS Dhoni was always a step ahead of everyone. And when I'm talking about the cricketing ecosystem, right, whether they are cricketing journalists, whether they are former players, whether they are current players, everyone thought in one line. MS Dhoni thought out of the box. And he always, as I said, was one step ahead of everyone. You're going to miss that. But I hope, being as part of that dressing room, he'll still keep surprising us with those interesting decisions that he takes.
Gosh, Nikhil, you know, this certainly has come as a massive shocker, a surprise. Not too sure how well received it is. Do you think this is in consent with the entire team? Is this a collective decision? Have they all come together to have this consensus and hand the baton to Jadeja? Or was this Dhoni's decision alone, of course, apart from the proprietors of CSK?
I think, again, I'll have to give you a bit of a background. We've often seen in the IPL that there is a good mix between the owners and the management and the captains, and they tend to be influence decisions. I would say 50-50, whether it comes from the management, whether it comes from a captain. So it had been split evenly in most teams. However, I think Chennai was very different in that regard, and that's why I say it was a very different team, because it was one of those teams where the entire reins of the team were completely in the hands of the captain. And MS Dhoni, everyone knew, even though the owners were India Cements, but everyone knew when it came to CSK, all major decisions were taken by MS Dhoni, and that was a great thing, because in what you call a corporatization of cricket, which the IPL was, a lot of time you saw the management or the owners take a lot of cricketing decision, and we heard that with a lot of franchises. It wasn't the case in Chennai Super Kings, and probably that was one of the reasons why they were so successful, because they allowed someone like an MS Dhoni to make all the cricketing decisions. So that continued for very long. Now what happens with this decision, I think the first and foremost decision to have this decision would have been of MS Dhoni. He would have been the guy who would have first said to his team that, listen, I think it's time for me to move away and let me allow someone else to take the reins of the team. I'm going to give you a bit of a perspective. It happened with the Indian Test team in Australia.
All right, that is Nikhil Naz telling us all about this recent surprise announcement, how Dhoni has decided to pick Jadeja as his successor. And there will be, of course, a lot of CSK fans.